Welcome back to another episode of OpenRCT2 tutorials. In this video, I'm going to show you how to build a giant top spin. Now this is a fun ride that flips you upside down and around and is quite chaotic. However, in the game, we are limited in that the ride vehicles do not spin freely, but we will do our best. Now I will warn you, this is my most complicated tutorial to date, so please bear with me. I tried to keep the video as short as possible and I do move through the material quite quickly, so let's get into it. Here we have an example of what we're going to be building. This is just a simplified version, but we have our control vehicle here and then the ride vehicles stuck on this infinite loop. So we have the control vehicle moving forward and the ride vehicles are going to want to fall back down, but the control vehicle is being propelled forward by block brakes, which force the vehicle forward. And then here physics takes over and the momentum of the ride vehicles loops it around, and some more block brakes pushing everything forward until they go backwards, because block brakes only work in one direction. Now the control vehicle goes up a level, and then we have some chain lift here on the back, which is going to prevent the ride vehicles from flying off, and then back into the brakes. But you do want to make sure that when you do an extra level, like I did on the control track, how we have it going up in a backwards direction, that when you return back to the main level, you go down in a forward direction. Otherwise, the ride vehicles won't sync up over time. So I'll just show you a quick example if we did something different where we have the return track going backwards down. So eventually over time, the ride vehicles became out of sync, and now the control vehicle will not return to the station. Now that was a simple example, but this is the design we're going to be building today, so a bit more complicated. There's multiple levels and lots of different fun tricks, but I will walk you through it, so don't worry. To get started, we're going to turn on some cheats. We need to turn on show all operating modes, unlock operating limits, and then allow arbitrary ride type changes, show vehicles from other track types, and disable vehicle limits. And then I'm just going to build up a little platform right here that is going to be where our ride is stationed. And then starting with the vertical drop coaster, we're going to build our station right here. And now I'm just going to color code the track for some visuals later. And now I'm going to start building with a block brake. We want to set that to 9 miles per hour. And then I'm going to paint that blue, so the block brakes will be blue just for the purpose of this demonstration. And now I'm going to use the tile inspector to copy that block brake and paste it 7 times. So we'll want to have 8 of these block brakes in a row. So I'm going to use the paste button here. So that's our second one, third one, fourth, fifth, sixth, 7th, and 8 of those block brakes. And then now I want to move forward with a regular brake at 4 miles per hour, and I'm going to paint that white just so we can differentiate between the brakes and the block brakes. Then one more block brake at 9 miles per hour, and I'm going to paint that blue. And then now I want to do a holding brake, so I'm going to build that, but first I need to turn on the disable clearance checks because we're building into the ground, and then we're going to do a steep to flat piece. I'm going to paint that white, so holding brake will be blue as well. Now we're going to go flat to steep up into a vertical piece, and now I need to use the quarter loop, but it's not available on the vertical drop, so we're going to change the ride type to the twister roller coaster, and then we're going to add that quarter loop in there, and then a barrel roll. And we're going to follow that with a straight piece of track and then a block brake at 4 miles per hour. Then we're going to do a gentle slope up. Now I'm going to paint the block brake blue. Now one more slope up, flatten out, and then down, and then flatten out again here. And then now we are going to do a large flat to steep and then into vertical. I'm going to paint these orange, and then we're going to do one vertical piece here. I'm going to paint that white and then do 2 more vertical pieces there. And I'm also going to paint the barrel roll in quarter loop orange. And I will explain later why I'm painting them orange. But now we can see here moving forward, the train's going to go all the way up here and then backwards to right after the holding brake. So that block brake here, we're going to delete it. And from the holding brake, we're going to work backwards and go just up, a gentle slope up, and then flatten out. Now we're going to rebuild that block brake there. So that is a 9 mile per hour block brake. And we want to make sure that when you move backwards, that you end up on the upper level of track there. So in the tile inspector order, just make sure that the lower level is the slope up and the block brake is the level above in the tile inspector order. And now I'm going to paint those correctly. So the block brake is blue. And now we're going to do a straight piece of track and then we're going to follow that with another straight piece of track, but with the chain lift turned on. And then we want to turn the chain lift off and do a gentle slope up. But for reference, I'm going to paint any track with the chain lift red. So basically the train is going to move backwards and hit the chain lift, and then it's going to move in the forward direction. So we want to go forward now to where that gentle slope down is right here. And we're going to delete that, and we're going to go forward and do a gentle slope up. So now I'm going to then rebuild that gentle slope right here. We're going to rebuild that back in. So you want to make sure that the track goes on the correct level. So we go forward here on the blue, and then we go backwards up this level, hit the chain lift, and then as we go forward, it's not going onto the upper track, so we need to change the tile inspector order. So find your piece right here. So this piece here, we just need to switch the order in the tile inspector, and then you can always test it to make sure once you have that done. So here we're on the blue track, and we're going to go forward and then go backwards up here, and then we're going to go forward again, and now we're on the correct track piece. We want to build a small half loop and a barrel roll. And now we need to do a flat to steep, but we need the vertical drop version. So change it to vertical drop coaster, do flat to steep. Now I want a twister coaster version of the large steep to flat. Now back to vertical drop coaster for a holding brake drop. Now back to twister coaster for a large steep to flat, and then another flat to steep vertical, and then we're going to do 5 or so vertical pieces, and we're going to make the holding brake blue. This piece is here orange, and then 2 of the vertical track pieces orange there. So the train will travel backwards to the chain lift here, but it will have enough momentum to overcome it, and it's going to go up here to this level where we're going to flatten out. And now we're going to do a brake of 40 miles per hour, and we're going to do 5 of those. So 5 brakes. Then we want to change it to a booster. So we're going to do a 45 mile per hour booster, just 1, and then we're going to follow that with 5 boosters at 40 miles per hour. So the train's going to hit the brakes, slow down, and then the boosters are going to propel it forward. So then right here where this last brake is, we're going to delete that, and we're going to build in a large flat to steep piece, and then we're going to go into a vertical track, and then we're going to build 3 vertical track pieces. Now I'm going to paint some of these orange. So I'm going to paint this transition orange and then 1 vertical track piece above the transition. We're going to rebuild that 40 mile per hour brake back in there. So now the train's going to go up this little spike and then fall backwards. And then at the end of the booster run, we are going to build a straight piece of track. Then we're going to build up into a small half loop followed by a barrel roll. And then we're going to build 4 straight pieces of track, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we're going to do a gentle slope up. And then we're going to build a steep slope. And then we're going to change it to vertical drop coaster and build in a holding brake, and then 1 straight piece of track with chain lift. So I'll make that red and blue for the holding brake. And now the train is going to come back. And then right here we have that regular piece of track. We're going to delete it and build a downward slope. And then we're going to flatten that out here. And now we want to rebuild that booster track here at 45, build that back in. So now you come to the lower level. We're going to build a brake at 45 miles per hour. Now we need to change it to the twister coaster to access the boosters, and we're going to do a booster at 40 miles per hour, followed by a brake at 45, a booster at 40, then a brake at 45, a booster at 40, a brake at 45, and a booster at 40. Then we're going to do a booster at 36, and then we're going to do a booster after that at 31, and then we're going to do a steep, flat to steep slope from the vertical drop coaster. So build the flat to steep and then a steep to flat, and then we're going to do a holding brake and then a steep to flat, connect it back in just for safety, and make sure when you go backwards it doesn't go up onto that piece. So that looks correct. And then we're going to paint the holding brake blue. And then now I want to go back to the piece right here, that last booster, and we're going to delete it. And from the flat to steep, we're going to go backwards with a gentle slope down and then connect back into our station track right here. So if you go forward, it should stay on the blue track. So from here, we're going to rebuild that booster at 31 miles per hour back in there. So it's going to go backwards onto the station track like so. And from the station, we are now going to build backwards with a block brake at 4 miles per hour, another block brake at 4 miles per hour, then a block brake at 9, a block brake at 13, a block brake at 18, and a block brake at 22 miles per hour. Then I want to build 2 straight pieces of track, and I'm going to make sure they are painted white, and then a regular brake at 4 miles per hour, followed by a straight piece of track. Then I need to change it to the twister coaster for a booster at 67 miles per hour, then back to the vertical drop coaster for a flat to steep, and with the chain lift turned on. And then we're going to do a vertical track also with the chain lift turned on, paint those red. Now here where we're at that regular piece of track, delete it and go gentle slope up with the chain lift turned on, flatten out, and then a downward slope with the chain lift turned on. Then turn the chain lift off for that last piece that connects back in, and we're going to make those red and then rebuild that last normal piece of track right in like so. So as we go forward, it goes up over the hill, but when you move backwards, it does not go over that hill. That's what we want to see. So our layout is now complete. So to check, from the station, the control car will go forward and it's going to go up here and it's going to end up on this spike like so. Then it's going to move backwards and it's going to go up to where that red chain lift track is right about here. And then that's going to push it forward and it's going to go all the way up to this other spike right here. Then it's going to fall backwards and it's going to bypass the red chain lift. It should have enough speed. It's going to go up to this upper level here. It's going to slow down. The boosters are going to push it forward up to this spike. Then it's going to fall backwards and then go up here, end up at this holding brake, and then it's going to move forward and it's going to go down to our middle level like so. It's going to go all the way to this blue holding brake. Then it's going to go backwards down to our original level, past the station, all the way to this red spike, and then it's going to go forward over the little red hill and then come back to the station. So all of our tile inspector orders are correct. And the reason the trains don't come out of sync is because as we go up, we're going in the backwards direction, then we go up again in the backwards direction. So to negate that, we have to go down in the forward direction. But when you get here, we go down again, but we're going in the backwards direction. So that is why the red hill at the very end evens everything out by going up in the forward direction and then down in the forward direction. So that will keep the control vehicle and the ride vehicles in sync. Now we need to open up the tile inspector, and anywhere we have an orange track, we are going to select the first tile of that track piece. So the quarter loop, just this piece of the quarter loop, we're going to turn the chain lift on, and then we're going to do the same for the barrel roll. So it occupies 3 tiles, but just this first piece of it right here, turn the chain lift on. This allows for the train to be pulled forward by the chain lift in the forward direction, but pass backwards without being affected by the chain lift. The way this works is explained in more detail in my vertical booster tutorial, so check that out. Don't forget to turn on the chain lift for the vertical track pieces as well as the steep to vertical track pieces as well. Now we want to copy a straight piece of track down here, and we're going to paste it right next to it on our little platform here and rotate it so it's going towards the other track. And now we're going to go a gentle slope into a vertical, and now we need to change it to the twister coaster for the quarter loop. And now we're going to have that come back down here, delete the little piece of track we pasted in, copy the rest, paste them in so we can just quickly make our 4 rings. So now we have our nice loops here, and now I'm going to build the land next to it for our towers right here. So now I'm going to take any vertical piece of track here and we're going to change it to the elevator, and we are going to build the entrance exit platform and 1 vertical tower piece. And now we're going to change it to the roto drop. Now we're going to copy the tower portion right here, and then we're going to paste it here and then move it down with the base height all the way down to the ground. Then copy that and paste it over here. Now the top of the tower, copy it, paste it here, move it down so it's right there. Copy that piece, paste it in. Now go back to our tower up here and delete those 2 pieces. Now we are going to change it to the vertical drop coaster, and I'm going to take a straight piece of track in the tile inspector and copy it. Now we're going to go over here and just paste it right there and move it down to 27 base height, and then copy that and just paste it in each time because it's at an invalid height, so we can't build this manually, so we have to paste it in. Now with our paint, we're going to paint those blue, that straight piece of track there. Now we're going to change it to the mini golf, and I can't build at an invalid height, so we're going to take that straight piece of track we just built, move it down 1 unit, and we're going to build our mini golf hole A, and then move that track piece back up in place. Now with our mini golf hole, paint it the color scheme 2, and we're going to copy just the circle portion and paste it right here, and then we're going to move it up to 28 and then paste it again, move it to 27, delete the original hole, and now we're going to take these and copy them, paste them over here, spin them around. So now we have those in place, and now we're going to change it to the vertical drop coaster. And now at our entrance and exit building, and we're ready for the vehicles, we want to change it to 1 train, and we're going to use the hyper twister trains, set it to 9 cars per train. Then we want it to be on powered launch passing station mode. The launch speed will be 4 miles per hour and the lift chain speed will be 9 miles per hour. Now we are going to pause the game and spawn the vehicles, but we need to turn on the enable all track pieces cheat. So turn that one on and we can then test and spawn the vehicles, set it back to closed, and then we can unpause the game and the vehicles will move forward slightly. Now we need to open the Edit Ride Vehicles plugin. If you don't have it, it's linked in the video description. With the picker tool, we can select our cars here. So we are on vehicle 2 right now. Now we want to select following vehicles on this train, and then we're going to change this to the 6-seater twister trains and hit apply. So now they are all the vertical drop coaster trains. And now with the drag and drop tool that is available on this plugin version 2.2 and higher, we can just drag and drop vehicle 2 right onto the ring. Now vehicle 3, just drag it and drop it right there, and do it for vehicle 4 and then vehicle 5. Now we're going to rotate the view and we're going to do vehicle 6, just drag and drop it, vehicle 7, drag and drop, vehicle 8. Might have to make the entrance and exit building invisible, but there we go. We got them all on our rings. And now we want to hit the synchronize button on vehicle 2, and we're going to use the track progress and we're going to move the vehicles forward until the shoulder harnesses lift up. So once the shoulder harnesses lift up, then we'll move it back about 2 units so the shoulder harnesses will be closed. And then we want to hit the reverse button, so that's going to reverse all of the vehicles. Now we can just adjust it slightly. We want it to be at track progress 20. So this video I do 21, but it should be at track progress 20. Now move to vehicle 6 and we're going to do the same thing. We're going to move it forward until the shoulder harnesses raise up, and we can't forget to turn off the reversed button for these vehicles. And once the shoulder harnesses raise up, move it 2 units into the closed position, so it should be track progress 9, but this video I made a mistake, so it should be 9. Move to vehicle 10, turn off the synchronize button and change the visuals to the hyper twister train, and we're going to change it to variant 1, and we just need to move that into the position right behind the car 1, so it should be track progress 28. Now set the multiplier to 100, and on vehicle 10 set the mass to 0 and then past 0, so it's the maximum, and vehicle 1 set seats to 0 and the mass all the way to 0 and then 1 past 0, which is the maximum. So now we can test the ride, and if everything's going as planned, the control vehicle 1 and vehicle 10 will move forward while the rest of the vehicles on the rings will spin around. So it's moving forward with the block brakes pushing it forward. Now we hit the holding brake, and now the train is going to drop, and then the chain lift on the orange pieces are going to push the train forward, and same with this block brake right here is going to slow it down but push it forward. The chain lift here pushes the vehicle up, then it falls backwards past all of this because the block brake and these chain lifts don't affect it till we hit this red chain lift, which will push the car forward. Then we're going to go up over here, the orange chain lift into the holding brake, then it's going to drop, and then the chain lift on these orange pieces push it up the spike, then it falls backwards and it goes right over the holding brake. It just slows down as it crests that hill because of the weight of the main ride vehicles. It passes that chain lift there, the brakes slow it down, and the boosters push it forward up this spike, and then it's going to go backwards. So basically the physics of the ride vehicles on the ring are affecting the vehicle 1. So now it's at the holding brake here. It's going to go forward and it's going to go now down onto our middle level and go forward all the way up to this holding brake. And then the physics of the main ride vehicles are going to pull it back down forward here all the way to our final spike here in the back as it slows down, and the chain lift pushes it forward, up and over, and then it slowly hits the brakes and returns to the station. So our ride is in working order, but sometimes we need to adjust the track progress in the plugin just after the first few cycles. So I just want to make sure that all of these are at either track progress 20 or track progress 9 for our main 8 vehicles here on the rings. So just do a few test cycles and adjust accordingly. So these are just a little bit off after a few cycles. So once you cycle it and they are returning at those correct numbers, and then you are good to go. So track progress 9 and track progress 20, and vehicle 1 should be at 18 and vehicle 10 should be at 28. And now, if that's all good, we can change vehicle 1 to the log trains and then set it to the invisible variant. And then we will do the same for vehicle 10, set it to the log trains invisible variant. And then with the multiplier, make sure the mass is at the maximum and that the seats are at 0 for vehicle 1 and vehicle 10. Now we're going to change it to the LIM coaster, and that will give us some nice stats here, so not too intense. and a ride time of almost 1:50 seconds. Now we need to open up the Ride Editor plugin, so if you don't have it, it's linked in the video description, and we're going to select Main Color Scheme, and we're going to change this to Roto Drop, and you just need to select it and hit Apply, so that will build our towers and change all of the white track to Roto Drop. Now for Alternative Color Scheme 1, we're going to change this to the Monorail and hit Apply, and we're going to go to Alternative Color Scheme 2 and change it to the Mini Golf and hit Apply. And then now we want to open up the paint, and so Alternative Color Scheme 3, we can just select all of this stuff that we don't want, that is red, and if you go to Alternative Color Scheme 3 in the plugin, hit Roto Drop, hit Apply, or we could change it to Invisible, either way works, hit Apply, and now all of that track's gone. Now we're just going to recolor everything so it looks really nice and pretty, and make sure we don't forget the vehicles. Now I'm just going to add a little bit of scenery, add a pit, some water, some queue, a little bit of scenery here, and there we go. And now we just need to make the entrance and exit visible so we can open the tile inspector and then move them. So copy the entrance building, paste it here, rotate it, make sure it is in the lowest level below the track in the tile inspector order, and hit make usable. And then we're going to do the same thing with the exit, paste it, rotate it, and then lower it in the tile inspector order beneath any track, hit make usable. So now we have our working ride, make the entrance and exit invisible. We can test it, and there we go. It's a nice working ride, and it just needs some peeps. Now as it spins around, you might notice a little bit of glitching from the mini golf pieces when the vehicles pass by. So in the tile inspector, we can kind of mitigate that a little bit by lowering the top tower piece to beneath the surface, and then taking these pieces and kind of ordering them in a certain way beneath the surface. So I think I have the tower on the lowest level, then one of the mini golfs, then the bottom piece of the tower. So just kind of, you can fiddle around with this and try and mitigate some of that glitching, but that's the best we can do. And now with some peeps on the ride, let's give it a ride, and I'm going to speed it up for the sake of time, but here we go. And it's going to go all the way around here, and then it's going to stop here with the holding brake and then drop again, go around here, slow down, and then it's going to reverse direction. So really fun variations. This is the best we can do in the game to kind of imitate a giant top spin, but I think it looks pretty awesome. Still a little bit of glitching with the towers every now and then, so you can try and fiddle around with the tile inspector if you want to try and fix that. But I know this is a pretty long ride cycle and pretty complicated to build, but I did create a downloadable park with your own top spin laboratory, so you can actually play around and design your own version of this ride if you want a shorter ride cycle or something less complicated. So here we have the final return to the station. And now I'm going to show you the lab. So here you can see we have the rings there, which is actually a control track, and then the ride vehicle is actually merged onto it, the ride track here. So you can actually edit the track while the ride is operating. I would pause it, but here you can see I can make a much simpler design if you wanted while the ride is still moving, but you just want to make sure it doesn't crash, otherwise you don't want to do that. So make sure you save the game often, but you can just definitely remove a lot of the stuff that we built today and make it much simpler. If you want, it would be a shorter ride cycle and not as fun, but this is just an option of what you can play around with in this laboratory that I made for you. So here you can see a much simpler layout, and then the chain lift here is going to push the ride vehicle back forward, and then it will eventually drop back down and return to the station. I would recommend saving the game often and in multiple files, because it took me at least 40 different iterations of today's design to get it right, as you can see here. But feel free to download this lab, it's linked in the video description. And if you have any questions, please let me know in the comments. I'd be happy to help you out, because I know this was very complicated. And if you enjoyed the video, please give it a like, it really helps out the channel, and consider becoming a YouTube or Patreon member, where you will receive early access to all of my latest videos and other benefits. And check out my RCT2 swag, linked in the video description. And as always, make sure to subscribe, because next time I'm going to show you how to deal with too many guests in your park and it's extremely overcrowded. So stay tuned for more.